Cassidy,
Here.
Mr. Podak,
Here.
and myself. All members are present. Um, I'd like a motion to approve the digital minutes.
I so move.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Podak,
Yes.
Mr. Cassidy,
Yes.
and myself. Minutes have been approved. We'll be hearing from just the finance director this evening. Do you have any open issues to discuss?
Do you want open issues or just an update of where we're at?
Just an update is fine.
Update of where we're at. 2024 is closed. I'm now in the process of getting the reporting around. State auditor Cindy has looked at it from her perspective and said, okay to close. We'll be issuing W-2s and 1099s either late this week, very early next week. I will be back to you guys with all of our 24 reporting at our next finance committee meeting. On tonight's legislation, you did receive a revised agenda. The ordinance for the escrow agreement was not on that agenda. I thought it would be included in with the ODOT resolution, but in looking at it, we need to have a separate resolution, so you all have a copy of that now. The way the escrow works is we have the 23 South project. Our share of that project is going to be $933,000. For ODOT to be able to release bids, we have to fund our share of that. Historically, what we've done is paid ODOT our $933,000, and then they get their bids. If the bids come in and they're lower than what the engineer estimated, we get our refund back, but we don't get it till the end of the project. Using the escrow agreement, we put the money in the escrow agreement, bid packages are released, they come back, the contract's awarded. If it comes in under the engineer's estimate, our share of that reduction we get back out of the escrow. We don't have to wait till the end of the project. So the escrow is only going to be open for about 6 weeks, because once they get the bids, they draw out our portion out of that escrow and they hold it. So it's a very temporary 6-week process, probably at the max, 8 worst case. Now, if the engineer's estimate is low and we owe additional money, they will send us an additional invoice and we'll have to fund that escrow for that additional amount. So that's a little different than what we've had in the past. Nobody in this area has used the escrow agreements because I had trouble finding a bank to actually do it. And in talking with ODOT, most of these escrow agreements have been out of Columbus, and Huntington Bank was the what he called the frequent flyer. But in working with Sutton Bank, Sutton agreed to do it. Premier was not able to do it. They could do it, but they would have to run it through their trust department. It would have cost us $7,000 to open up the trust account. They didn't fully understand the transaction, and so we quickly got in an area over at Premier that we didn't need to be in. So in talking with Sutton Bank, they agreed to do it. That is all I have to report out at this point. Again, I'll be providing you guys reports at the next meeting. You'll have them before the meeting. You'll have them early, probably yet this week. So.
Okay, I did have one thing I wanted to ask you in regard to that DAQ, for UDAQ, revolving loan
UDAC.
fund.
Yes.
On the structure of how we're paying FEDC, I'd like some clarification or the justification of why they're going to receive the interest out of the idle funds.
Yep.
They're the perfect group to do the loan management. I agree. I just don't understand why, in addition to the interest, they would get
So
off of what's sitting idle.
So they administer the loans, but they also, and one of their primary purposes, and this is one of the primary reasons it's at FEDC and not here, they handle all inquiries into the revolving loan fund. And so they get a number of inquiries that never even get to the revolving loan fund board because they're not qualified. So in essence, what they're doing is getting paid to do that service with the used funds. And so and now what will happen when we fund the $750,000, that fund balance is going to be maybe 100,000. So there will not be much interest generated anymore from Star Ohio. But
True.
by the same token, they're not going to be able to take in many inquiries. All they're going to be able to say is, no, we do not have the funds available at this point. So it's kind of that balancing act. But we did have a significant amount of money sitting there for a while, and they were taking inquiries, but again, only qualified ones get to the board, and that's to protect those people who are asking for loans. If we had to come back and tell everybody, oh, they applied, but we didn't approve, that's kind of contrary to.
That makes complete sense to me. Do you keep those funds in a separate Star Ohio account?
Yes, they're in a separate Star Ohio account. Matter of fact, we need to move that money tomorrow because on Thursday, we're going to fund that.
Okay.
So that amount shows up in our $21 million that we have.
Right.
So you're going to see, we're going to draw down 750,000 out of our funds. It's going to come out of the Star Ohio, but because we're going to actually fund that loan. You'll also see that we're going to fund this 990 or 933,000.
Sure.
So we're going to see a drop in cash of about $1.7 million here in the next week and a half. So when you see January's closing reports and you see significantly less dollars, you know where they went.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Anybody else have questions? Okay, if not, we'll open the floor to public comments related to finance. Hearing none, we do have a need for executive session this evening for the purpose of personnel matters, specifically to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. If I could have a motion for that executive session.
So moved. Second.
And on roll call, Mr. Cassidy,
Aye.
Mr. Podak,
Yes.
and myself. We are in executive session at 5:37.